If you clicked on today's video, you're probably looking to optimize your shoulder workouts. Today's video, we're going to talk about some of the science and evidence behind why I select certain exercises for my clients and for myself. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but there's a few things we have to understand before we get into the gym. So I'm going to explain those simple principles, and I'm going to do that right now. Hey everyone, my name's Adam, this is Science-Based Fitness. Thanks for clicking on today's video. I'm gonna just quickly explain to you a couple concepts before we get into the shoulder workout that's really gonna help clear things up. Now, I've always been someone with smaller shoulders, so this has always been something I've really needed to work on. Over my 12 years of personal training and with my degree in exercise science, I'm hoping that I can help you understand these principles and ideas a little bit more clearly. There's a lot of scientific data that I'll explain as we go, and that'll be sourced in the description. You don't have to take my word for it. You can always go down there and read it for yourself. The first thing I want to look at here is some of the basic anatomy to the shoulders. And the most predominant part of the shoulder that we try to train is typically the deltoid, and this is the cap of our shoulder. Our deltoid can be broken down into three heads. We have the anterior head shown here, the medial head or side head shown here, and the rear or posterior head shown here. As we go through these exercises, I'll put them up on screen so you can take a screenshot at the end of all of the exercises. When it comes down to the reps and the number of sets, this will be dependent upon your goals in each person. So don't let that influence your workout too much. Now, the first movement we want to look at here is a shoulder press. Now, amongst the shoulder press, we have so many different variations. We have dumbbells, we have barbell, we have seated, we have standing, we have behind the head. There's a whole pile of variations. So I want to take a look at these type of variations and see what's the most optimal shoulder press. For something like this, we can look at EMG data, and we can see that amongst a study that looked at EMG activation amongst these four variations, the study was able to conclude that the standing dumbbell shoulder press elicit the most activation for each head of the deltoid. For someone like myself that wants to have a happy medium between hypertrophy and strength, I will do something like this. And here's gonna be the first exercise on our list. And at the end, like I said, we'll have all of the exercises here and you can screenshot it. I'm using a rep range of 6 to 12 reps because this is a good mix between strength and hypertrophy. Like I said, I have pretty narrow shoulders, so making sure I mix in a good amount of medial deltoid or side deltoid is ideal. And this first medial deltoid exercise we're gonna do is a simple side raise. Now, this type of a side raise should be done in what's called the scapular plane. From overhead, I'll show you what this will look like. This is our scapula. It doesn't sit flat on our shoulder, it's on a slight angle. And this is what we call the scapular plane or scapular angle. When doing side raises, this is better for your shoulder health and can increase your lifting longevity. So you can see the difference here. This is me doing a side raise just straight. Now here is on the scapular plane, a little bit more efficient. Now these side raises are probably one of the more common exercises and are fairly easy to do. A nice simple tempo with a rep range of 6 to 12. Now for myself, like I talked about, wanting to prioritize medial deltoid, the second movement is going to be another side raise variation. Now this variation will require some understanding of resistance curves. When hitting a normal side raise, the maximum resistance is when we are fully abducted with our arm out to the side like this. So how do we change this? By using a cable or a band. The setup here, we can lower the cable down to about our knee height and use a lean away or standing straight up approach. And you can see I'm just very slightly leaning away here. This allows for less activation of the supraspinatus in the back of our shoulder, part of the rotator cuff. Now, as I go through the side raise here, the max tension is on this lower portion of the lift instead of the top, which changes the resistance profile and alters the stimulus to that medial deltoid. And this can be ideal for trying to optimize growth. I still lift along this scapular plane with a similar rep range and a similar tempo. All right, on to our fourth exercise, and please don't leave at the end of this because there's a little bit I want to talk about and address on why I don't have more exercises on here and why I didn't select certain movements. Now this fourth exercise is a reverse pec deck, and this is going to target our rear delts. And this reverse pec deck is one of the most effective rear delt exercises, and this EMG data on screen here shows that there's 90% activation for these rear delts. And there's rear delt activity in exercises like pull downs, pull ups, and rows. But isolation work for this muscle can be very beneficial and very effective when comparing it to the compound style of movements. So here's the completed workout of these 4 exercises. Feel free to screenshot this and mix these in if you want. Now you might be asking why I didn't put certain exercises on there. We don't have front raises, we don't have shrugs. There's always a time and a place for certain exercises, but I want you to think of something here. When we look at shoulder press, we have a ton of anterior deltoid activation. When we look at bench press, we have a ton of anterior deltoid activation again. So let's say you're going to do 3 pressing workouts in a week. That's 3 days a week where you're getting a ton of work on the anterior deltoid with a lot less activation in your medial or rear deltoid. Spending that extra time you could be using for front raises could be better spent hitting rear deltoid movements. When it comes to exercises like shrugs for the trap muscles, we didn't mix any of those in. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. I still mix them in occasionally myself. But when we look at that shoulder press movement, those traps are very active. When we look at the reverse pec deck, we can see that the trap muscles are also very active. So we don't have to overtrain these muscles. Now this might just be an aesthetic point of view, but really developing a larger cap to your shoulder gives a much wider frame appearance, which is kind of what a lot of people are looking for. So that's why this workout might not necessarily be right for you, but for a lot of people looking to really work on their aesthetics, get wider shoulders, this should be a pretty optimal workout. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you guys are interested in more content, right up here is my full breakdown on creatine. It's pretty well proven and there's a lot of really good systematic reviews behind it. I definitely recommend clicking this video and checking out if you haven't. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.